Guys, in this video I want to do a detailed study of a site, more detailed than the traditional giraffe study. The traditional giraffe study is, ooh, want to buy the site? Actually, let's add the site. Oh, so bring in the cadastral data. And let's say I'm familiar with this area and I just want to, I'm going to just edit the site boundary, hit space, edit project boundary, and query against this data set and say set project boundary. And then we can right click again and find the right one and merge it on, and then we can do the same with this last one. Okay, so now we've got a relatively accurate project boundary. And so then we take our building and look, we can snap to the edge of the boundary here and then move it, let's say it's 6 meters in. Again, we can snap and move it 6 meters in and go fantastic. And then we go residential, and we know something about this site now. We know about its overshadowing, we know its hardscape, softscape, facade, FSR, right? But let's say we wanted to understand how the basement may or may not work, etc. So like going to that next level of detail, which you would normally do in like an ArchiCAD or a Revit or something. So I just want to sort of see how far we can push this thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new usage called wall, okay, which is going to have 0 efficiency. 0 and 0, and I guess it'll just be like a plain white with a gray background. And I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to create a new drawing layer called basement. Create, and I'm going to draw that wall using the offset method. So I can go over here, and there's that wall, and now I use this offset method. And you can see it offsets this gigantic amount. So let's just offset it 200 mils, 0.2. There we go. All right, so that is a wall. And so I'm going to do that wall. And let's say we're going to tank this. We can tank this basement all the way, right? And then I'm going to draw the car park. And I'm just going to do one car park level, basement level, not 2. So I'm not going to do the multi-deck. And I can generate the bays like this. And this is where this algorithm is relatively useful, that you can sort of say, okay, well, do those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really matter, or can we just do this? And maybe we decide in our assessment we're going to do this. We're going to get 21 car parks. And normally when you're at this stage of detail, you kind of know about this site. You know a lot about this site. You know it's sort of what it's meant to, to FSR, etc. And let me just, on this, I'll add an exclusion zone. Kill those 3. Okay. All right, now I'm going to draw this. We go make roof. And make this ramp. See how steep that is. So we can actually sort of talk about how, so the height should really be, let's say this car park's going to be 3 meters. And we could do some mathematics, couldn't we, to figure out the rise over the run, the gradient of the car park, sorry, of the ramp, like that. Okay, so is this a useful? No. So adding this polygon to the car park has actually been useless. So what I'll just draw, I'll draw it as a separate polygon like this. So this is the turning. Okay. All right. So now I guess we can bring this wall and close this up like that. And let's just snap that there and this there. And I just want to make it all the same color. So if I come to the car park usage, BBBB, and I'll just do this and add a property of color. Okay. All right. And then, yeah, that's good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a core. And maybe the core is going to go over here. And it's going to be core. And so in the car park, I better edit that exclusion zone further like this. So we're not counting that car park. So look, if you look at the number of car parks provided, if we pull that down, it says 17, but that's including 2 under there. So I'll kill those guys. Okay, so there's our call, 4 by 5, not sure. And you know what, like we could go the whole hog. Like maybe the lifts are 1.7, and so I'm going to do this base point move it, so like snap it there, and then do this thing again and snap it there. And then what I'll do over here is I will add a no facades flag, just so we get this kind of that. And I'll group this all and maybe add some levels. Okay, so now we've got a car park, a core, and a basement. And what I want to do now is add the terrain and drop it to the ground so it stays sort of here. Okay, and so you can see what's going on. This is actually quite a sloped site. So what I'm going to add to this thing is I'm going to add a cut and fill flag to it. And I'm going to add an elevation datum to it. And I'm going to set that elevation datum to -68. Or maybe it's 68. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see that's slightly underground. So now I'll lift this thing up. You see we've dropped it down, so I'll just lift it up so relatively we can see what's going on. And I think if I change this to a higher, there you go. Okay, cool. So now we've got, oh, and you can see the angle of repose. So if I just don't clip to site boundary, you can see what's going on is this core. So this is cutting out the terrain. If I turn that on like this, and if we make that like a 4, really highlight that cut. So the way we don't want that ramp, we want that angle to close up. So we add this new property called angle of repose and sort of make it 89. Okay, there we go. Now we've really got a cut. Okay, and you can sort of see now what's going on is that our original ramping position, because we didn't consider the terrain, is absolutely ridiculous. So let's do this. Lift the car park up and kill the ramp because we don't need it. And this wall I'd like to split. I can't, that's sad. Oh, maybe it's there. Here we go. And pull them back so that this becomes the entrance of the car park. And this wall now, we can kill that sort of bit and close up like that. And now in the car park, we want to put the exclusion zone over there. And rather than doing another exclusion zone, I'm literally just going to kill the car parks underneath there. That's interesting. It's not killing them. Interesting. Because I've copied it. Okay, so it is killing them. Sorry. When I copy drag that, it drag copy the entire slab rather than just the exclusion zone. Okay, so we've got the entrance over there, and we've got the car park. So there's the entrance, there's the core, there's the car parks. And like our cut and fill now, we've sort of, we've got a kind of a dead facade over there, but it's buried over here. And so we could probably say, oh, we can ramp it slightly a little bit down. And again, recalling that this data set, this elevation data set that we're looking at, it's not the world's most accurate data set. It's coming from the shuttle radar topography mission. Okay, groovy. But we've got ourselves like a thing. Now, in terms of a graphic output, when I say we've got ourselves a thing, what we've got is a scheme, as in there's quite a detailed level of understanding about what's going on. And let's continue the scheme. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another drawing layer now called ground. And that's just going to be a slab on top. that I'll set as plaza, and I'll give it a base height of, actually what I'll give is a floor to floor and a height of, okay, so it's collapsing down, which is rather annoying. Maybe can I just draw, okay, that's better. Okay, so I'll just put this there as a lid. And I may not do that. I may actually add an elevation datum so that this thing is absolutely RL'd in. And I think it's about 80, so like a 74 meters. There we go. Okay, so it's like RL 74.4. That is the RL that we are choosing as like the building pad, the ground level that's capping off this building. And here's our core. And so now what we can do is we can just use our apartment algorithm. So that's RL74. So I'm going to just draw an apartment algorithm. I'll use the one with balconies. I'm just going to draw it like this, and pull that like that, and then collapse that to be a core. Right, so that's where our core is going to go. And then we better pull this in and in which case we can pull that out and out. Now I better add an elevation datum of 74.4 to that. 74.4. Okay, and now I want to pull that out a bit. And, excuse me, 744, 74.4. I just used Shift F there to move it. And now I'm going to drag the core over there, and I'm going to outline this. Now let's say I really care that the core is there for some particular reason. And you can see here my core is going through my core, but I can do one better. I can go in and in the algorithm I can delete the core and save my changes. And now that original core is actually shooting up. And so now I can control that original core and position it exactly where I want to the exact right size that I want it to be. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to turn the corridor off, the corridor facades off. Sorry. Corridor, add new property, no facades, save, groovy. Okay, and now I'm looking at I'll turn this on the terrain. I'll stop clipping to the side boundary. I'm looking very detailed, and you can see I've got this issue over here where this bottom apartment is crashing straight into the ground. This one potentially is okay. But so why don't we lift this up? So 74.4 plus 3.2 would be 77.6. Okay, so there we've got that's the typical tower level. And so now let's model this one out. So why don't we create a new layer called tower and put this one on tower. Now I can turn it off. And now let's model out on ground that layout. So I would just show it, ghost it in and lock it. And so what I'll do is, this is a terrible plan, it's so silly. But anyway, I'm just assuming that I've got it right. So let's say the lobby is going to be, well, let's say it's going to be a big cafe lobby. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle and set that usage to community and set that elevation datum to 74.4, which is our base datum. Okay, so there's that sort of thing. And then, oh, sorry, so I put that on the actual tower layer, unfortunately, because I am So I think you can just right click this and then put it on ground. Okay, that is good. Now community is popping this even higher, and that's because the community floor to floor is set at 4 instead of 3.2. So I'll do that and save those changes. There you'll see that. And now what I'll do is I'll drag out a ground floor apartment over here. Shift F, just zoom straight to. And I'll do that. And it can go over here. And then we'll draw a rectangle like this, and this will be the lobby. Do I have a lobby usage? I'll just use the community usage and I'll change the color to something else, like something like that. There we go. And that's on ground. And then this, instead of being community, this can be a 2-bedroom unit. And that's on ground as well. Okay, so we should now see everything we need. There is a problem. This, I'm just going to turn on X-ray mode. This guy needs a higher stack order. Oh no, needs that elevation datum. So everyone that is on ground needs to be put to elevation 74.4. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is a scheme. There is a scheme that is actually quite worked out. Now we can set views, so we can say basement. Let's draw a arrow. Sorry, on the basement layer. What's my arrow shortcut? I think I have one. Make this much smaller. And that's actually way too big. Let's just find a little arrow. This dashed arrow is smaller. All right, we can have go arrow and length, arrow and length. We'll just change those to 2 and 2. Okay, there we go. And just kill that dash. Okay, so there's the in. And we can put in one of these. And one of these. And one more. Okay. And that's on basement. And then we can turn off basement and turn on ground. And let's just change this color so it looks like nice and sort of welcoming, as something you'd want to stand upon. Stand upon. Oof. Okay, that'll do. And let's just add some texts. So we can say text. Sorry, need to draw on that right layer. So we're going to go text. Lobby. Just make a text. Community. And apartment. Okay. And we could get into these things as well. Let's chuck one just there. Now, and of course, we could add like sites and setbacks, etc. I think I can turn the terrain down. There you go. And then we can turn on the tower and we can show the same thing. Now, one weakness with my approach to date has been that the basement, that the core, which is across ground, tower, and basement, is only shown when I show basement. So what I may do is create a new drawing layer called core, create, and there we go. I'm going to put the core on the core layer and go down. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is we've got the site, we've got this, we've got that. Okay, cool. I could add a marker to the basement. This is fun. Marker. And the label is going to be area, GBA 666, right? And core is on. Basement's on. And now I'm going to save these views. So I'm going to say, now this is where it would be nice to have scales, etc., like the classic CAD packages like ArchiCAD have. Sorry, I should not talk and do stuff. Okay, turn off ground, turn on tower. Okay, maybe let's chuck a few more on there. So, can I draw on a lock layer? I can. Cool. All right, annotate it as you would. Let's just grab a liner arrow and do like a city views, whatever it is. There we go. Grab that view. Typical. Level. Save. Okay, now we've got those. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the builder app. Builder, and I'm going to create a blank report. Add a view, basement, insert, and insert one of those, and go level 1, insert, and insert one of those, and say typical level, insert. Okay, so not too bad, I don't think. And I'm going to call it 13 Wyala Ave. Save. And I think what I may do in the analytics is just grab this and just this build form. So now in my report, I'm going to go over there and open it, and I'm just going to add one more and add an analytics, and I'm going to just get that build form and insert it. Easy, done. And then I can print that off to PDF. So that is 22 minutes, 23 minutes. And this is what we have got. I may save one view, shouldn't we, for our audience. I should have put the annotations on annotations layers, but there we have it. We live and learn. Oh no, views, add new view, north, west, save. Okay, open. Now over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add view. It's going to be northwest. Insert. And now what I can do, increase the size of that and decrease the size of that. Cool. Save, print, done. Now, what's the cool thing about this is that it's templatized. And so if I'd got my layers correct and my annotations correct and my report builder correct, I would be able to do this again very, very quickly.